Welcome to the Shergroup podcast, where we share ideas on how to help businesses grow and prosper in the online world. Join host, Chief Shergroup Claire Sandip as she discusses her digital journey and how Shergroup is helping thousands to keep their business flowing and growing. Here on the Shergroup podcast.
Hello everyone, so it's Claire here from Shergroup with Shergroup on the sofa today, and I'm joined by my very good colleague Sandip Saluza, who's based out of India. So say hi, Sandip.
Hello, hi everyone, and hello to Ross.
Yeah, he's our number one fan, so we always say hello to him wherever we are in the world because he gets a big kick out of knowing that we're in India or America, and he's based out of the UK. Sandip, we've been working together now for the best part of 16 years, and what a pleasure it is. And what a pleasure it is to see you build up your career and become a Shergroup expert. How lucky am I that you've been with the company? And June and I met you when we were all starting out in India, and now you are running operations for us over there and doing tremendously well. So I wanted to take a moment to share this interview time with you because I want to show you and India off to all of our audiences, and to have this on our YouTube channel, because there'll be a lot of business owners out there that don't realize that they can take advantage of what India has to offer in terms of operations, which is huge for us, as we both know. And we want to encourage more people to think about that as an opportunity for them and their businesses. So let's jump straight into that. I mean, outsourcing, business process outsourcing. It's a big strategy. Why would people, and let's think about small, medium businesses as well as the big boys. What's the advantage, do you think, of the Western businesses coming to India?
Right. First of all, Claire, I would like to thank you for your kind words and inviting me on the sofa. Right. I've been actually anxiously waiting for this day because I always wanted to showcase what India can do for the outsourcing industry, and therefore I think what we all need to understand is that the global outsourcing industry is nearly worth $250 billion, and it's actually growing at the rate of 10% per annum, which means that by 2030 this industry is going to be of nearly $500 billion. So this figure in itself explains that outsourcing is an important industry, and I think it's beneficial for all the companies across UK, US, or Australia to take the advantage of labor arbitrage and outsource some of their key as well as non-key activities to India. And therefore, I would say that as far as the business strategy is concerned, I think outsourcing is a good business strategy for any kind of business, whether big or small or medium-sized business. And I think nearly 70% of big businesses are already taking the advantage of outsourcing. And now I think it's a time for the small businesses to take the plunge and try outsourcing if they haven't tried yet.
And we would like to help those businesses access the expertise that India has to offer. And I remember when I first came to India, I've told you this many times, I never thought I would visit your part of the world. And I was lucky enough to do so. And I can remember walking into a team of Indian professionals, young Indian professionals, and just being absolutely blown away by the enthusiasm and the smiles and the eagerness to learn High Court enforcement in your part of the world, and it made me want to stay because I had never seen that before. I don't think I will ever experience that moment again. Obviously, I have lots of talented Indian professionals with us now, but that moment when I walked into the room and everyone was so excited to see me and to hear what I had to say was definitely a huge highlight in my career. So some of you will be listening to this, I'm sure, and watching Sandip and may have been on the team and are past Shergroupies now. But let me say to you, for each and every one of you, I've seen all of you move forward in your careers, and it's been great to see. And I think what I cottoned on to when I came to visit everybody was the mindset of taking a process and really developing it and owning it and wanting to really excel in it and be measured in it. And I thought that was exceptional, and I still do to this day. I still think, every day I'm coming up with a new project for you, Sandip. Can we track this? Can we measure this? And every day you say to me, yep, leave that with me, and I'm going to get that done for you. But it just enables me, doesn't it, and us as leadership to have the right numbers. So I think that's been amazing. But what is it about the Indian mindset, do you think, that people are so focused on their work? I mean, it's a tremendous gift, especially for a business to have that in their employees. What do you say about that?
Absolutely. I would say that Indians are very process driven, and I think they have the ability to actually adapt into anything that's being presented to them in a process, and they are very capable of then handling and delivering that process again and again. And that's the beauty about India and Indian workforce, that when they get into a process, they would stick to that process and continuously deliver year on year basis, quarter on quarter basis, and would help the companies to grow. And that's what we feel is the advantage of outsourcing to India. So of course. So this is the beauty of Indian workforce, actually.
Yeah, I've definitely seen that. I've seen some of the members of the team, stick the music on and just get into their process and then work through what looks like a mountain of data and and requirement emails and have it all answered and all dealt with. And of course, as a company, we have set the parameters, and we've invested in coming out to India to train everybody. And I think that was part of our success story, wasn't it? That we all collaborated and got our knowledge out to you all, so that you're all high court enforcement experts, right, in another part of the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah, which I get a big kick out of that. Knowing that what we do in the UK, in this very prestigious part of the law, is actually being carried out by our colleagues on the other side of the world, 4,000 miles away, and being done, in an expert way, following a process. I think that is absolutely tremendous. And so, in terms of how Shergroup has benefited from outsourcing, what do you see that Shergroup has achieved as a result of using all of this great expertise and hard work?
As you mentioned, that Shergroup actually came to India in 2005 and decided to start its operations in India and have resources from India. And I think I've been fortunate to be a part of this team, and I've seen the company growing, and I've worked in different processes in the company. And what I would say is that as far as Shergroup is concerned, I think there are a lot of benefits that we had because of outsourcing some of our processes to India. In fact, many processes to India. And I would say the biggest advantage is that we have been able to take the benefit of labor arbitrage. We have been able to keep our overheads controlled.
Yes.
And other than that, I think India is a massive country, as you realize, Claire, that it is nearly 450 million people working. So from this huge talent pool, I think we have been able to find some good resources. And I think that's what has actually helped us a lot in terms of delivering the best possible services to our client. So I think outsourcing has been quite beneficial for the company. Yeah.
And I think we're fortunate in that. You have an insight on the recruitment industry in India.
Yeah.
And we've been recruiting paralegals and lawyers at the moment. We've also been doing something diverse as security auditors, we've built our own digital marketing agency with SEO, website, and content writers. And all of these designations, it's not just that there's a handful of people that we could reach out to and interview. There are literally tens, if not hundreds of people across India who have the right skill set. We're really spoilt for choice, aren't we, in terms of the talent pool?
Yeah, as I said, that India is a massive country with nearly 450 million workforce. So obviously there are a lot of people, and I think what we need to understand is that during pandemic, a lot of things have changed in India, and that has actually made India even better for the outsourcing industry. And I'll explain you why. What has happened in India during pandemic is that first thing is that digital penetration in India has now reached to nearly 50%, which means nearly 700 million people have got the access to internet. So the workforce that was earlier in smaller cities and tier 2 and tier 3 cities and tier 4 cities are now available online. And that means that when a company approaches India and when a company is looking for outsourcing processes to India, they have even a bigger talent pool, because now they have people from tier 2, tier 3, and tier 4 cities who are ready to work from their home. So this has actually led to a tremendous change in the Indian work culture. Not only that, I think in the recent past, what has happened is that earlier, as we see in any other country. Similarly, in India, we have certain good colleges and educational institutions around urban areas. But now, during pandemic, what has happened is that even people sitting in the rural areas or in small cities have been able to get quality education virtually, which means that they are now, you have a bigger talent pool with good quality education available for you to employ. And that makes India even a much better market as far as outsourcing industry is concerned. So I would say pandemic has changed a lot, and I would say that's for better actually for India.
Well, I think that's very important. When we first started in India, as indeed we are in the UK, India, I think, is ahead of the UK now in terms of its internet speeds, its internet backbone. I'm still looking at a speed in my home in Norfolk of 30 Mbps, and you're talking to me about 100 meg speed in India, which you would maybe think that the UK was kind of like pushing ahead with all things digital, when in fact it's a bit on the back foot, and so we find that moving processes offshore and allowing Indian team members to work from home has been a great combination, and we support that, and we support Indian working parents working from home, so that they can manage their childcare and their family responsibilities, which I think is a very important part of your culture. And I've said that to you on many occasions. So we're wholly supportive of Indian professionals wanting to access and work from India using the great technology backbones that have been built, which is no surprise really, as India continues to invest in its infrastructure. Now we are a small to medium-sized business. And we came to India for outsourcing, and I was particularly persuaded by the enthusiasm of the people, but also their competency. What I do as a High Court enforcement officer and a lawyer is very exacting, and I loved the way that the Indian nationals built their manuals, built their standard operating procedures, documented everything, and was so enthusiastic about doing it. I love that, and even to this day, if I give you a task, I say to you, can you help me with this? I did that this morning to you, and it's leave that with me, and I'll get back to you, and I'll figure it out. And if I don't understand, I'll ask you. And as employers, that's what we need in our businesses when we're trying to diversify and be agile in our business offerings, which Shergroup is. We need colleagues around us who are able to be agile and who can jump from process to process and essentially build it out. And I think that's a big benefit, isn't it, for small businesses, that agility of thought?
Yes, exactly. In fact, outsourcing is much beneficial for a small scale and a medium scale company, because first thing, I think what smaller businesses have to realize, I mean, we all understand, we are also a small business, and what we understand is that we have limited resources. And out of those limited resources, we want to maximize our profit and keep our costs minimal. And I think outsourcing is an answer to that, because outsourcing not only helps to reduce the operating costs by nearly 50 to 70%, because you're able to find skilled resources at a much competitive rate. Not only that, you have flexibility, because, for example, if you have your business and let's say you have customers calling you at 8 o'clock in the evening, and you do not have someone to answer your phone, you would certainly not want to spend $3,000 or $4,000 or £3,000 in UK sterling to hire someone and make that person answer the calls. Perhaps you can outsource that job to India, and you can actually minimize the cost of resource by nearly, you can save nearly 70% on that. Other than that, I think perhaps the scalability is another factor. Now, if you are expecting a large business or a large project coming in, perhaps you may face certain scalability issues in the country. But if you outsource a business to India, there's no, I mean, as I said, that there are ample of resources here, and you're able to find those resources quite quickly and easily. And that makes outsourcing quite beneficial for smaller companies, because they should be focusing on their core competencies and should actually outsource their non-core activities to India or to whatever country they're comfortable with. But actually outsourcing to India is going to be much, much, much beneficial for them.
I mean, culturally, just the fact that English is so prevalent, and it's obviously it's not the first language of India, but it's a very, very close second, and it's quite rare for us to meet an Indian professional who can't either write or speak in English, and of course we sometimes we have positions which require written English. Knowing their way around the Excel, knowing their way around Word or some other database function, and spoken English is not quite so needed. And then we have some very voice-orientated operations such as collections and customer service and legal work, where we have to have Indian colleagues speaking to people in the UK and the US. And so what I like is that we can have those conversations with you. You understand that this is a global market, and for folk to be able to work in it, they have to have these skills. And I appreciate that sometimes it's a little bit sensitive about that, but you have always guided us, and we always put, I think, Indian culture first, and then see how we can work within that to provide our folk with the expectations. I mean, the other area that I want to touch on in this interview, and we have talked about labour arbitrage, you have mentioned it, and I think for some people in the West, and I'm talking particularly UK, Canada, US, they may see labour arbitrage as something sort of form of exploitation. What I wanted to ask you as an Indian person is, I always get the impression that, well, first of all, I know that you take a very active stance in making sure that our people are remunerated properly, they are looked after properly in terms of their provident fund, their everything to do with their tax, and so their whole kind of contract of employment is all set up very much from your point of view with our accountants. So I think everybody is well looked after in India. But what do you say about the labour arbitrage? I mean, are we, is it okay for Western companies to use, the talents of Indian professionals in the way that we do? How do you feel about that?
Absolutely, I would say. The reason why I would say is let's take an example of Shergroup. So Shergroup started allowing people to work from home and work on a hybrid model since 2013-14, which meant that perhaps we started reducing our overheads since 2013 and 14. And by reducing our overheads and by reducing our cost of rent that we were paying for big offices and things like that, we started spending that money towards the benefit of the employees, which meant greater employee satisfaction, which meant now, since people were working from home, they had the flexibility, so they were enjoying working from home. They're still working from home, so they are enjoying it. And I would say this is not only help the employees to actually grow and move forward. I think ultimately it has actually benefited our customers who have had the better experience from Shergroup because they had good employees and in fact employees who were quite happy dealing with them. So ultimately it's the customer who's getting the benefit, and that's what I would say to all the companies. When you talk about labor arbitrage, it's not about exploiting the resources or people in India. It's about taking the advantage of difference in the pay scales and difference in the currency, and that's the advantage through which people, companies in UK, US, Australia, or Canada can actually save a lot of money, and not only that, they can get access to skilled workforce by employing Indians and by employing people from other countries like Philippines.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I would say about labor arbitrage.
Yeah, I think it's good to hear that from you, as opposed to me, because you're living and working in India, and obviously you've got your family, and we want everyone on our projects to be successful. But I think in terms of putting it from the customer's point of view, I think that's a very good way to see it, because it definitely has been able to give us consistency of service to our customers, and also resilience in people moving on. Of course, people move on in India, but we're able to move people into those roles because of the way we're set up, the outsourcing infrastructure. It's about the process, and people are trained on the process and then cross-trained, and that makes it makes a very, very sort of strong foundation for what we want to do, and that's been proven time and time again. We never like to see people moving on, do we? We like to keep them in the Shergroup family, but life does move on, and then sometimes they come back. So that's nice too. I think that all goes down to you, Sandip, in terms of how you look after everybody. You've got a great skill there. But I do think that as an organisation delivering services that require excellence and they require consistency, this is what India has given Shergroup. And I think from the point of view of other people listening to this Shergroup on the sofa, if you've got a business that requires consistency in processes which are monotonous and have to be done, there isn't a choice. We don't have a choice over some of the processes that we run. They have to run a certain way. The consistency of delivery from our Indian team is absolutely first class, and that's why, well, it's true. And this is why we all sign up to, and I'm not alone on this, all of my UK colleagues, as you know, your UK colleagues they all have this belief that this is what they're receiving, and it helps them in talking to customers about, what's happening with their cases, what's happening with their business. And now we're talking to our US partners about that as well. So I'm delighted to see everybody moving forward. I really am. So in terms of a small business that is hearing this and going, oh, well, I have processes that are, I have to do them every day, and they have to do them consistently. And I have people kind of like, being off sick, or I have a lot of holiday that I have to give in the UK. How does outsourcing start to help a business owner plug those gaps, would you say?
As far as outsourcing processes offshore is concerned, when a client approaches us, or let's say a client approaches a third party for outsourcing its processes, then what they actually do is they actually focus on their core competencies and let the non-core tasks being done by a third party, which means that they don't have to worry about the additional costs around resources, managing the resources, their leaves, their pays, their other HR issues. Everything is managed by the third party or by the vendor. So, for example, if it's Shergroup, then we manage everything in India, and then a client has to just focus on its core business and leave all these worries to us. So that's how outsourcing helps the client to actually focus on their core business, and then leave all the worries to the outsourcing provider. So yeah.
I mean, I think we have 2 days on the calendar, which we kind of, Diwali is a very important day in the Indian calendar, as we know, and our Indian team largely, I think pretty much 100%, need to have Diwali off for their time with their families and to celebrate this wonderful celebration. And then Christmas Day, which is the big holiday in the UK and US, then we as a company close for Christmas Day, regardless of your culture, because we just think it's a nice thing to do. And then on all the other days in between, pretty much India is either largely 100% online, or if there is another holiday that comes along that culturally just needs some Indian nationals on it, then we stagger that. But essentially, an outsourcing client gets service 52 weeks of the year, bar those particular 2 days. And with somebody that's trying to juggle vacation time, sickness, maternity, paternity, and care-related roles in a company, when you outsource, all that goes away, all that worry goes away, and it's the outsourcer's responsibility to get the job done. And we turn on a sixpence to make sure that you get everything that you need, so that there is no downtime in your service. So I think that's huge. I mean, that was huge for us. It takes the complexity out, as you say. The core competency was intact, and how the processes got run around it and dealt with around it was in the offshore environment, as opposed to being in the office here, which was great for us.
I think I would just like to add something on that. I think perhaps in pandemic, what we have realized is that business continuity was becoming quite important for almost all the businesses who never thought that one day pandemic would hit
isn't that true?
The entire world, and they would have everyone sitting at their home. Now, Shergroup, since we started allowing people to work from home since 2013-14, so we were pretty much settled with that. And when everyone, in fact, even the bigger companies, when they were scratching their heads to figure out how they would allow people to work from home, how would they manage them, what are they were not even aware of the challenges of allowing people to work from home. For us, it was quite easy because we were pretty settled with that. And I'm sure you know that, Claire, that during pandemic also there was no downtime. We all were available, and we were just working everything was happening like a clockwork. So there was no downtime. All the services, everything, all the processes were running quite smoothly. So that's what we have learned, and that's the experience that we have as far as Share Group is concerned. In the last 8 to 9 years of we allowing people to work from home, I think we have set an environment wherein clients are getting the best possible services, and there is a huge employee satisfaction because people are being allowed to work in a hybrid model. So it's a kind of a win-win situation, a win-win model that we have built in India, which is helping obviously our parent company Share Group. And of course, if there's any new client that's going to approach us, we'll also be able to reap the benefit out of it. So that's what I can say.
Well, I think as a management team, we also we have it sussed really, and it seems very easy now, but we started this in 2005. So when we talk about outsourcing and working with our clients, we've got a head start on anyone that's thinking about doing this today. I would like to do it, but really is sort of like, I don't know if it's something, I don't know, how would I manage that? And the answer is that we've already done all that thinking, and we've done all that planning, and we have all those management systems in place. And I think that's important because when it comes to dropping a process onto us, then we take it apart, we review it, we work out how it's going to work for you and for you as the customer. But we've ironed out all of the little niggles really that could have been in that process, and then we just focus on your particular process. But we can source the staff with the right skill set. We can onboard the staff, so we can recruit, we can onboard, we can train, and then we can manage those staff to deliver the service. And we measure that delivery. And I think that's huge because I'm always talking about what gets measured gets managed, and having regular reporting, meetings if you want them. But what I have found, and I'm very pleased about this actually, is that as you mature into this market and you have in the DNA of Share Group India the right sort of people coming forward for these roles, then people are they're very self-reliant. And I love to see this. I particularly like to see it in younger people, because it means that you don't have to keep kind of pushing people around. They're just getting on with the job, and they're enjoying the job, and they're enjoying the opportunity to work in Share Group at home, and that's great to see. And we get a lot of positive vibes coming back from our Indian colleagues as a result of that, and I think we get that in the UK as well. But we definitely want to see happy people in all of our parts of the world, and we do that by training them and making sure they can do the job, and then making sure they enjoy the job, and that's what we can offer and want to offer to smaller medium-sized businesses and larger businesses. And I think we did all that, Sandip, really because we spent a lot of time in India, didn't we? We as senior managers, we came and spent a lot of time with you guys, and got to understand a little bit about your families and your culture, and was lucky enough to go to the Taj Mahal, which was just awesome. But this is all part of of the wonderful Indian story, and just getting to understand just how fantastically well trained people are, and how enthusiastic they are. I mean, just it's what outsourcing is built on. I absolutely believe that. If you've got those sort of processes in your business and you're not using outsourcing, my friends, you are missing a trick. Absolutely. You are missing a trick, and no one's going to tell you about it unless we do things like this. And Sandip and I can explain to you how easy it is to make that change in your business. We've done the remote working piece in India. That's been great for us. I remember the first I think it was a working parent, I'm going to say it was a mom, that we were able to offer this to. I mean, she was just over the moon to be able to work from home and have a youngster. But that is something that hasn't gone away as a result. I mean, I know people are going back to their offices, but we encourage remote working, don't we, in all that we do now. And it seems to get a big tick in the box. People seem to like it. Is that, am I right about that?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, people are enjoying working from home. And I would say work from home gives them the flexibility because they can work from the comfort of their home. Not only that, the other aspect that we need to look at is keeping in mind that inflation is now, we're seeing inflation almost in every country across the world. And we're seeing gas prices, petrol prices going up. So obviously, people who have to travel a lot to come to their workplace would have to spend a lot of money on their travel, which certainly is going to eat into their pockets. So resources or employees do not want to spend that sort of money. And therefore, I think they prefer working from home because that means a lot of saving for them. That means they are able to devote more time towards their families. That gives them the flexibility to work from home in the comfort of their homes. So there are a lot of advantages, and I would say people are actually loving working from home. And in turn, that is also helping the company because if the employees are happy, they do their best to keep the customers happy. And that's what we are seeing. We are seeing that being reflected in the services that we are providing to our customers.
Yeah.
So I would say, as mentioned, that it's like a win-win situation for all of us. Happy employees, happy customers. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there are parts of Shergroup where we can't offer remote working because of we need boots on the ground to be able to do that. So I'm sorry if you're a Shergroupie listening to this and you're saying, well, I don't get to work from home. I'm a security officer or I'm an enforcement agent. Sorry, guys, no. We haven't got to that stage yet for your roles, but we appreciate all that you do by being boots on the ground, and often processes can't work without you. So we do appreciate that. But for those of us that are office bound, or leading a part of the business from the offices, it certainly makes for a less complicated life by not having to travel to work. And you're right, Sandip, an hour, 2-hour commute into a big city in India is, it's a chunk out of the day when you could be with your family.
It's quite expensive as well.
So. It's quite expensive, yeah. So we're kind of cutting all that or keeping those costs under control. Let's just hope that the world gets back to normal in some shape or form, way beyond this video being broadcast, because at the moment, as we are in July 2014, it's not easy out there for everyone, and we do understand that. Which again is why, if you're coming out of the pandemic as a business, you're looking to the future, you want to scale up. You're looking at, I'll take UK salaries, and you can change it from sterling to dollars. It's kind of comparable, really. But I mean, we've just been looking at that, and I think there's about a 60 to 65% savings, Sandip, isn't there?
Absolutely. On an average, a business is able to save nearly 50 to 70% of the cost that they'll be paying to the resources, plus the additional cost. Management cost and the cost of the rental cost and the infrastructure cost. If we add all of them, then perhaps it's a huge amount of saving for any business if they decide to outsource. So in fact, it is minimum at least 50 to 70%.
So you take your payroll cost, you're a business owner, you look at your payroll cost every month, and then think about if that was at least half. What would you do with that? What would you do with that cash? Where would you put that cash? Would it go to your bottom line? Would you invest in some new technology? Would you invest in some new kit, plant and machinery? What would you do with that if you could save that by making some changes in the way that you deal with processing in your business? That's the question that you have to ask yourself. That's the question I asked myself. And that's why we're able to have, so many people working on our processes in India as opposed to just a handful in the UK, and then seeing them go on leave and having to give them their leave, of course. So we're completely covered all the way around. So in line of that, Sandip, in line with that sort of response, What sort of processes do you think lend themselves well? If you were listening to this and you thought, well, I'm running a business in the UK or the US, what kind of processes do you think lend themselves well to being outsourced?
I would say pretty much anything and everything that can be done remotely. So, I mean, for example, if you're running a business, you have your sales and marketing department. So for your sales and marketing department, you can outsource anything related to digital marketing or coaching your people in working in the sales department or training them, and lead generation. If you have a finance department, then perhaps what you can outsource is, or look forward to outsource, is your credit control, your debt collection of your outstanding invoices. Other than that, if you're running operations, then perhaps you can outsource your data entry jobs, your backend jobs, your IT support. Other than that, if you need software developer, you can find quite good developers in India. I mean, all the multinational companies are hiring software developers from India. So yeah, these are some of the key services that you can certainly outsource, and you can get good resources, better skilled resources, quality resources by outsourcing these processes.
I think just to make that even simpler for somebody listening to this, would I be right in saying, excuse me, if you started with the job that you want to recruit for, and assuming it's an office-based job, pretty much, I mean, we're not going to get security guards from India coming over to the UK or the US, so let's just box that one off. But let's say it's a desk job, which you're comfortable as a business owner having done remotely, or if you haven't yet made that change, maybe that's something you need to talk to us about. But you start with that designation, and then they come to Shergroup Outsourcing and they say, I need a bookkeeper that can run Xero, or I need a bookkeeper that can run QuickBooks, or I need a digital marketer that can SEO my website and get me on number one of Google, page one of Google, right? So rather than thinking perhaps about what the processes are in your business, perhaps you need to think about what designations do you have in your business, and do a discovery kind of call with us around the next recruitment that you do, or the next time that you're looking at your financials, and think, if I ran that in an offshoring model, an outsourcing model, what would I be able to achieve? Because we've just done a project like that for one of our colleagues in the US, haven't we? We were asked to source some particular types of professionals. And I think you started off with a talent pool of something like
30,000.
30,000 people?
Absolutely.
It was awesome. And then as the colleague kind of drilled down on the specification of the role, then it became clear that we had a number of potential candidates, and you were able to supply the resumes for those candidates, weren't you, that ticked all the boxes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is, a great outcome, really. And I think our US colleague was suitably impressed that he'd come to you. And not only that, but in that particular case, actually, they were required to travel, those Indian professionals, and were able, you were able to guide them on that as well. So, as I say, if you've ever thought about outsourcing, but you didn't know who to ask, or please use myself and Sandip and our colleagues as a sounding board for what you want to do. Just come and talk to us about it. We love talking about it, as you can tell. And we've been, we think, very successful at it. And all the concerns that you might have, which are understandable, totally understandable, I think we've worked through them, Sandip, haven't we?
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Don't let anyone put you off. Come and talk to people that have done it, and let's see if there's an opportunity for you to take advantage of all that offshoring destinations have to offer. I mean, in terms of, if let's say people want to take that leap of faith and outsource, you're managing operations for people. How do they I mean, what benefit does that bring to the client? I know what it is, but you try and vocalize what managing operations means for our clients. What does that? How does that help them?
I think they would have multiple benefits, but just few to mention. I would say the biggest benefit is obviously reduction in the cost. So they'll be able to save nearly 70% on the resource cost, plus any other cost or any other spending that they have around office rents and infrastructure and things like that. Other than that, they'll have access to quality and skilled resources who would be able to produce quality work for them day in, day out. Flexibility is another benefit that businesses can get by outsourcing their processes. And other than that, I think which has become increasingly important nowadays is business continuity. Keeping in mind that we had one pandemic and now we have sort of recession looming large on all the major economies. I think business continuity is an important factor. And I think for building resilience around all these issues and all these factors, I think companies should look forward to outsource their processes. And that's how they can sort of make them pandemic proof. So, yeah.
And I just add one thing to that list, and you do this for me every day, and that is the delivery of data.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that what I love is that people take a pride in delivering the data every day. And as you know, we have a number of reports that we look at as we run our processes every day, which we have built over our experience. And that gives myself and the leadership team comfort in understanding what is being achieved every day, and also where things are maybe not going right, and what are the bottlenecks, log jams. What do we need to improve? What do we need to concentrate on? And that data, I think, is it can come from a system. It can be generated by a system. It can be generated by an Excel spreadsheet if you're at a different level. But one way or another, when you have an outsourcing team and you build that delivery of data into your process, it will come like clockwork.
Yeah.
And as a business owner, you may not get to it every day, but my team certainly know that they deliver it every day. I may not get to it every day, but if I need it, it's always in my inbox. It's always there ready for me. And it enables me to see things and to evaluate things with my senior team that, before I started outsourcing, I could ask for that for a long time. Can I have this? Can I have that? Why can't we see this? And I get the transparency was just not there. And now we've started that in our US operations as well, haven't we? And we have our weekly meeting on our US operations, and we see the delivery from our US security teams and driving the data up and sharing that with their manager in a very positive environment. I mean, everybody wants to get to 100% fulfillment. It's not a stick to beat people with, but data is data. And ultimately, the customer benefits from having good data, and they can rely on that data. So we do a project in the US now where we share that with our US security clients once a month. They could have it more. They have it online on the platform. And I get a big kick out of seeing my US security manager based out of Orlando working with one of your senior team out of Kerala in Southend. And how far are those guys apart? About 8,000 miles?
Yeah, I think even more than that, perhaps. Yeah, absolutely.
It's a long distance, and yet they work every day together as if they were just in the same office. And I get a big kick out of seeing that kind of collaboration, because apart from the fact it's good for the soul, it's also good for the customer, and the customer pays the wages. of everybody. So I think this is where if you can get outsourcing right, then it's a huge benefit. And if you want to jump into outsourcing, but you don't know how, or you're understandably nervous about making that leap, then people like myself and Sandip can help you to make that change, or to look at that change in your business and just understand the impact. We can help a US business, a UK business, pretty much anywhere in the world. It wouldn't take us long once we had a look at your financials to see what kind of positive impact outsourcing could make on your bottom line. And that's what it's all about, as well as building happy team members in different parts of the world. So I want to thank you, Sandip, for today. Is there anything else you want to say to our listeners about Shergroup or Shergroup India before I wrap up?
I've almost shared pretty much everything, and I think, as I said, that bigger companies are already taking the advantage of outsourcing. I think it's a time for smaller companies and medium-sized companies to take the advantage of outsourcing. Try it once, and I'm sure once they realize the benefit of outsourcing and getting the quality services at reduced cost, then perhaps they would really love it. And ultimately, it's going to help them to improve their bottom lines, get their customers happy, and as I said, it's going to be a win-win situation for everyone. So thanks for today, Claire.
You're welcome. And I think we've all learned a lot from the last 2 years about how to run a business during a pandemic, and I know it's been a challenge for us, and it may be that it's been a challenge for your business. If you're one of the businesses that just scooted away because in terms of success because of the pandemic, then that's fantastic. But I think for many people, it's been hard. It's been hard to keep going, and even with furlough schemes and everything else, you've still got to somehow service customers. So again, I would encourage you to think about outsourcing, not because we want another pandemic. Lord knows we don't want another one of those, but just to build resilience into your business model, to give you some buffer against the next big thing that could hit, whether it be a key member of staff leaving, or a pregnancy and a very valuable worker has got to take time off maternity leave or paternity leave. These are all things that can knock you off course. And what outsourcing does is it gives you resilience against those real life scenarios, which you as a business owner can't do anything about. You just got to roll with the punches, and it's not always easy. So thanks very much, Sandip, for today. It's so good. We're going to have you back on the sofa again, definitely talking about everything that you're doing in Shergroup, because you're such an important member of the team. And I thoroughly enjoy working with you every day. We talk. I'm not sure you enjoy talking to me every day, but I enjoy talking to you every day.
Absolutely, I do. And thanks a lot for inviting me on the sofa today, Claire. I would just like to thank you, and would just like to thank all the viewers who would be watching this video later on. And so good luck to everyone.
Good job. So you can find us all on shergroup.com. Sandip also heads the team that is building our platform. He started off knowing not very much about digital marketing. When I said to him this is what we were going to do, he's now a digital marketing guru along with the rest of the team, and pitches in on those meetings, because it is an operation. Building a digital marketing operation is a daily occurrence. And so he's involved in that. You can find us on shergroup.com. You can also find us on every channel, social media-wise. Please subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Subscribe, don't just like the video. If you like this video, like it, but also subscribe to our channel, because we're looking to build our community of YouTubers out there, because I think YouTube is a fantastic platform to showcase what Shergroup is doing. And I think we have TikTok now, Sandip, don't we? We've been put on TikTok by Jamari.
TikTok.
And that's going great guns. And of course, we also have our TV show, which we're all immensely proud of, which is called The Bailiffs, on Channel 5. And you can see the season 1. And we've just heard this week that season 2 of our TV show is coming out. So thank you to all the agents and to the office squad who've taken part in the TV show. It's a tremendous opportunity for Shergroup, and we're very grateful to the team at Middlechild for picking us to do that project. So thank you very much, everybody. Great to see you. Great to see everybody in India. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of the week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Shergroupie podcast. To join our Shergroupie community, subscribe by going to our website at www.shergroup.com. Keep up with the latest Shergroup news across all our main channels, including YouTube, LinkedIn, and across all social media. Stay connected and begin building more business relationships.